The concern for me, and the reason I'm the Shedeur guy, is in the big spot. You come up big. For Jaxson Dart, 2 games where Ole Miss faced a then-ranked opponent, LSU in Georgia, he completed less than 60% of his passes, and in each game combined for 2 touchdowns and 2 picks. And then they were looking for a playoff spot late November. He completed less than 60% of his passes with a couple touchdowns and 2 interceptions. And that late meltdown, you went ahead of Geno Smith, and 3 players were drafted by the Bengals before they took Boomer aside to the second round. So it doesn't always go. The quarterbacks go in the order or the way they work.
Talk about going full-time fanboy mode. This is Sports Guy talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about Jaxson Dart getting chosen over Shedeur Sanders by the Giants. Remember, the Giants spent the 25th overall pick on Jaxson Dart in the 2025 NFL Draft. Of course, there has been a lot of outrage from sports fans with this decision the Giants made. Before I say anything else, though, I want to present you guys with the topic question. So, here it is. Should the Giants have taken Shedeur Sanders instead of Jaxson Dart? This is an interesting question to me, mainly because I feel like either answer can be justifiable to this question. But in all seriousness, though, I think it was a mistake for the New York Giants to take Jaxson Dart with the 25th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. I have no problem with the Giants trading up for a quarterback. If you like a quarterback enough in the second round, you might as well go ahead and trade for a quarterback in the bottom of the first round, mainly because you have the option to use the 5th-year option if it is necessary. Look, Jaxson Dart is no scrub. There were things to like about Jaxson Dart, but I believe this is a mistake by the New York Giants. Jaxson Dart makes too many mistakes in the pocket. He's sloppy with his footwork. He's sloppy with his decision making, and the New York Giants cannot really afford to draft a project quarterback. Jaxson Dart is not a day one starter. I understand that the Giants have 2 veteran quarterbacks on their roster, so ideally they're probably thinking Jaxson Dart will sit on the bench for year 1, but let's be honest with ourselves. What good is it for Jaxson Dart to sit on the bench as a 3rd stringer? I don't have a problem with Jaxson Dart sitting on the bench if he is their backup quarterback, but as a 3rd string quarterback on a dysfunctional franchise, I don't really like that decision whatsoever. I understand Jaxson Dart has his benefits, but he also has a lot of drawbacks as well. He ran a lot of RPOs in college, better known as the run-pass option. That's not really something you see a whole lot in the NFL. I know RPOs have become a thing in the NFL, but it's not exactly like they're the bread and butter of NFL offenses. The problem with Jaxson Dart is, though, he played in an RPO dependent based offense. Now you're asking Jaxson Dart to play in a pro style offense. That's not necessarily going to go well for the development of the Giants offense. He was decent at Ole Miss, don't get me wrong, but it's not exactly like he was a game changer for Ole Miss. What did he do to elevate their football program? Jaxson Dart didn't really do a whole lot in terms of elevating their football program. Shedeur Sanders, on the other hand, did elevate his football program. I know some people are going to say, oh, but Colorado, they never made the college football playoff. They never even won a bowl game with Shedeur Sanders at the quarterback position. But my counter argument to that would be, look at what Colorado was before Shedeur Sanders got there. Colorado was an absolute dumpster fire before Shedeur Sanders got there. And I'm not saying Shedeur Sanders was this generational prospect, but he did make Colorado a better football team than what was expected. How many people outside of Deion Sanders fanboys expected Colorado to win 9 games last season? A lot of people did not believe Colorado had the capability to win 9 games, but they absolutely did that. Shedeur Sanders has proven that he can elevate his teams more than Jaxson Dart can. I also want to show you guys this clip of Shedeur Sanders reacting to not getting drafted in the 1st round of the 2025 NFL Draft. I found his response to not really be surprising at all, although I found it interesting how he posted this reaction as soon as the draft was over. Roll the film.
We all didn't expect this, of course, but I feel like with God, anything possible, everything possible. I don't feel like this happened, for no reason. All this is of course, fuel to the fire. And under no circumstance, we all know this shouldn't have happened. But we understand we're on the bigger and better things. Tomorrow's the day. We're going to be happy regardless. Legendary. Ooh.
Thank you!
Great response, Shedeur Sanders, although I'm going to need you to channel that in your actions instead of just saying that out loud. Remember, actions speak louder than words. Obviously, a lot of NFL GMs and scouts were turned off by what Shedeur Sanders said in the interview. Please do not blame race for why you dropped out of the first round. Shedeur Sanders is a talented quarterback, yes, but the reason why he didn't get picked in round 1 of the 2025 NFL draft was because of his maturity. A lot of people feel like Shedeur Sanders does not have the capability to answer questions well in front of the media, mainly because he can't interview well in front of coaches and scouts. Those are valid concerns to have. Now, obviously, Shedeur Sanders is better than what his draft projection is going to put him to be. We all know Shedeur Sanders is a talented quarterback. His deep ball accuracy is really good. He's the most clutch quarterback in college football. You can't name a quarterback that was more clutch than Shedeur Sanders the last 2 years, because there is no quarterback that was more clutch than Shedeur Sanders. You think about his countless fourth quarter comebacks. You think about his ability to throw 50-50 balls at a high level. He obviously elevated the play of other receivers at Colorado. You think about how LaJohntay Wester played pretty well as well. You think about how Will Sheppard also showed up, made big plays in the passing game. You also think about how Jimmy Horn Jr. was able to succeed in the passing game as well. Of course, there was Travis Hunter. He's an absolute baller, but we all know Travis Hunter is a legit superstar in the making. He's going to be a future Hall of Famer. Shedeur Sanders has the capability to become a star quarterback in the NFL. I'm not saying this guy is a generational talent. I'm not even saying this guy's going to be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, but could I see him becoming a Baker Mayfield type of quarterback? Absolutely. And Jaxson Dart, on the other hand, although he showed decent moments in college, there was never any moment in college where I said, man, Jaxson Dart is going to be a superstar in the making. When I think about Jaxson Dart, I think of him as a high-end backup, low-end starter. He's kind of somebody in the Daniel Jones, Gardner Minshew type of mold for quarterbacks, where if you have to play him for a game or two, he'll be fine, but over the course of a season, he's not really worth being your starting quarterback on your roster whatsoever. Drafting Jaxson Dart is going to get Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll fired. Shedeur Sanders is going to be a solid quarterback. Whoever drafts him is going to be getting a steal. He dropped because of character concerns. It's not because Shedeur Sanders can't play quarterback at the NFL level. I do wish Shedeur Sanders answered questions better in front of the media. I do wish Shedeur Sanders was able to be more of a professional, but we all know Shedeur Sanders is a guy that shows his confidence, that shows his swagger. He's not the first quarterback to do this. He's not going to be the last quarterback to do this. I remember Geno Smith had the same issue. That's part of why he slipped in the NFL draft. Obviously, we'll see what happens with Shedeur Sanders. That was actually one of my player comps, as a matter of fact, for Shedeur Sanders. But like I said, we got to see where Shedeur Sanders ends up. If he ends up in a good situation, be prepared for this guy to be better than Jaxson Dart at the NFL level. I've seen Shedeur Sanders come through in the clutch on numerous occasions. I haven't seen that for Jaxson Dart, and college production matters. College production doesn't always translate to the pro game, but it can at certain times. I'm excited to see how this draft will play out for Shedeur Sanders moving forward, though. Good luck to Jaxson Dart and the Giants. You're going to really need it. So that is why the Giants should have taken Shedeur Sanders instead of Jaxson Dart, as the Giants continue to make bad decisions with the roster construction on a year-to-year basis. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking. Like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That will be for the @DustinNashTran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @DustinNashTran, and that's Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @DustinNashTran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel, Sports Guy Talking.